Hello everyone, welcome to VJ's World. I am with you with another interesting book, and its name is The Big Millie Molly Mandy. You can see it's well illustrated, beautiful pictures, very colorful. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel for more stories. So, without further ado, let's get started. Here is the map of this book. You'll be finding different places like the church, the barn, the monk's cottage, the next village, shortcut to school, Mr. Critch the Thatcher's cottage, the blacksmith's cottage, the forge, Mr. Blunt's corn shop, Miss Muggin's shop, the postman cottage, Mr. Smale the grocer's shop, Mrs. Hubble's the baker's shop, the village institute, the school, teacher's cottage. So this is the complete map of this book. Here's the content of the story, and you can see grandpa, grandma, uncle, auntie, father, mother, Millie, Molly, Mandy, Billy Blunt, little friend Susan, and Toby. So here, the first chapter, Millie, Molly, Mandy goes errands. So once upon a time, there was a little girl. She had a father and a mother and a grandpa and a grandma and an uncle and an auntie. And they all lived together in a nice white cottage with a thatched roof. This little girl had short hair and short legs and short frock, pink and white striped cotton in summer and red serge in winter. But her name wasn't short at all. It was Millicent Margaret Amanda. But father and mother and grandpa and grandma and uncle and auntie couldn't very well call out Millicent Margaret Amanda. Every time they wanted her, so they shortened it to Millie Molly Mandy, which is quite easy to say. Now, everybody in the nice white cottage with the thatched roof had some particular job to do. Even Millie Molly Mandy. Father grew vegetables in the big garden by the cottage. Mother cooked the dinners and did the washing. Grandpa took the vegetables to the market in his little pony cart. Grandma knitted socks and mittens and nice warm woolies for them all. Uncle kept cows to give them milk and chickens to give them eggs. Auntie sewed frocks and shirts for them and did the sweeping and dusting. And Millie Molly Mandy, what did she do? Well, Millie Molly Mandy's legs were short, as I've told you, but they were very lively. Just right for running errands. So Millie Molly Mandy was quite busy fetching and carrying things and taking messages. One fine day, Millie Molly Mandy was in the garden playing with Toby, the dog, when father poked his head out from the other side of a big row of beans and said, Millie Molly Mandy, run down to Mr. Mock's cottage and ask for the trowel he borrowed from me. So Millie Molly Mandy said, yes, Farver, and ran in to get her that. At the kitchen door was mother with a basket of eggs in her hand. And when she saw Millie Molly Mandy, she said, Millie Molly Mandy, run down to Mrs. Moggs and give her these eggs. She's got visitors. So Millie Molly Mandy said, yes, mover, and took the basket. Trouble for Farver, eggs for mover, she thought to herself. Then Grandpa came up and said, Millie Molly Mandy, please get me a ball of string from Miss Muggin's shop. Here's the penny. So Millie Molly Mandy said, yes, Grandpa, and took the penny, thinking to herself. Trowel for Farver, eggs for mover, string for Grandpa. As she passed through the kitchen, Grandma, who was sitting in her armchair knitting, said, Millie Molly Mandy, will you get me a skein of red wool? Here's a sixpence. So Milly Molly Mandy said, "Yes, Grandma," and took the sixpence. Trowel for father, X for mower, string for grandpa, red wool for grandma, she whispered over to herself. As she went into the passage, Uncle came striding up in a hurry. "Oh, Milly Molly Mandy," said Uncle. "Run like a good girl to Mr. Blunt's shop and tell him I'm waiting for the chicken feed he promised to send." So Milly Molly Mandy said, "Yes, Uncle," and thought to herself, "Trouble for father, X for mower, string for grandpa, red wool for grandma, chicken feed for uncle." As she got her hat off the peg, Auntie called from the parlor where she was dusting, "Is that Milly Molly Mandy? Will you get me a packet of needles, dear? Here's a penny." So Milly Molly Mandy said, "Yes, Auntie," and took the penny, thinking to herself, "Trowel for father, X for mower, string for grandpa, red wool for grandma, chicken feed for uncle, needles for auntie, and I do hope there won't be anything more." But there was nothing else, so Milly Molly Mandy started out down the path. When she came to the gate, Toby the dog capered up, looking very excited at the thought of a walk, but Milly Molly Mandy eyed him solemnly and said, "Trowel for father, X for mower, string for grandpa, red wool for grandma, chicken feed for uncle, needles for auntie." "No, Toby, you mustn't come now. I've too much to think about, but I promise to take you for a walk when I come back." So she left Toby on the other side of the gate and set off down the road with the basket and the pennies and the sixpence. Presently she met Little Friend, and Little Friend said, "Hello, Milly Molly Mandy, I've got a new seesaw. Do come on it with me." But Milly Molly Mandy looked at her solemnly and said, "Trowel for father, X for mower, string for grandpa, red wool for grandma, chicken feed for uncle, needles for auntie. No, Susan, I can't come now. I'm busy. But I would like to come when I get back, after I've taken Toby for a walk." So Milly Molly Mandy went on her way with the basket and the pennies and the sixpence. Soon she came to the Mock's cottage. "Please, Mrs. Mox, can I have a trowel for father, and here are some eggs for mower," she said. Mrs. Mox was much obliged indeed for the eggs, and fetched the trowel and a piece of seed cake for Milly Molly Mandy's own self. And Milly Molly Mandy went on her way with the empty basket. Next she came to Miss Muggins's little shop. "Please, Miss Muggins, can I have a ball of string for grandpa and a skein of red wool for grandma?" So Miss Muggins put the string and the wool into Milly Molly Mandy's basket and took penny and a sixpence in exchange. So that left Milly Molly Mandy with one penny, and Milly Molly Mandy couldn't remember what that penny was for. "Sweeties, perhaps," said Miss Muggins, glancing at the row of glass bottles on the shelf. But Milly Molly Mandy shook her head. "No," she said, "and it can't be chicken feed for uncle, because that would be more than a penny. Only haven't got to pay for it. It must be sweeties," said Miss Muggins. "No," said Milly Molly Mandy, "but I'll remember soon. Good morning, Miss Muggins." So Milly Molly Mandy went on Mr. Blunt's and gave him uncle's message, and then she sat down on the door step and thought what that penny could be for. And she couldn't remember, but she remembered one thing. "It's for auntie," she thought, "and I'd love auntie." And she thought for just a little while longer, then suddenly she sprang up and went back to Miss Muggins's shop. "I've remembered," she said. "It's needles for auntie." So Miss Muggins put the packet of needles into the basket and took the penny, and Milly Molly Mandy set off for home. "That's a good little messenger to remember all those things," said Mother when she got there. "They were just going to begin dinner. I thought you were only going with my eggs." "She went for my trowel," said Father, "and my string," said Grandpa, "and my wool," said Grandma, "and my chicken feed," said Uncle, "and my needles," said Auntie. Then they all laughed, and Grandpa, feelings in his pocket, said, "Well, here's another errand for you. Go and get yourself some sweeties." So after dinner, Toby had a nice walk, and his mistress got her sweets. And then Millie, Molly, Mandy, and little friend Susan had a lovely time on the seesaw, chatting and eating raspberry drops and feeling very happy and contented indeed. So here this chapter ends. I'll get back to you soon with other interesting stories. Till then, take care.